Hey, this is Aaron with Scalability. Welcome to Freedom Fridays, where we are leveraging technology to advance God's kingdom. And if you are an active subscriber of Scalability, then you can actually join us for live strategy calls like this every Friday to make sure that you don't get stuck just running around in the tech side of things. And you're able to actually put this stuff into work, into your business, in the real world, so you can start saving time doing mundane tasks and actually working on the money-making tasks. A lot of times with software, people get stuck trying to figure out how to make tech stuff work and they neglect the business. So we have full tech support 24/7 inside to help you do all that tech stuff. And then I go live every Friday to actually help you figure out the systems, the strategy to make it work for you. I've been working one-on-one with companies for the past 5, 6 years, where I come in and help streamline the business by creating systems. A lot of people struggle with the system side of things. And so this is where we just dig into that. Every Friday, if you're an active subscriber, keep an eye on your email because we send you the links to join us live. And we just go live and start doing Q&A. So as always, we have a few people in the waiting room and we'll just let them in and we'll see what all we have going on this week. And we'll just help you win. So it's just a second as they come in. Hello, hello. I see a few people joining here. Feel free to jump in and unmute and say hi. Hey, Kelly.
Hey,
How are you this week?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastical. Anything I can do to serve
Oh,
you this week? You know I like to get right to helping you solve those problems.
yes, you do. You do. I'm having some issues with the email, like being able to add in, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, being able to add in um images.
In the actual emails
Like
you're
I,
sending out?
yeah, it's like I can put it on there, but it'll, have the big box where you put the email, and then at the bottom, I can add an image, but when the email sends out, it doesn't have that image on there.
Huh.
I don't know if,
Have you went to tech with it? Just simply because it might be a bug in the system if it's like actually sending the email and then it's not actually showing up in the email. Are you writing
yeah,
the emails? Like, are you clicking on somebody's contact, writing an email and sending it out right then? Or is it something you're doing in templates or in the automation or something?
yeah, it's an automation.
You're doing it in automation and it's not sending it
Mhm.
out? Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it's working on others. So that would probably be a tech question. That way they
Okay.
can dig in and see if there's a bug because we have
Okay.
that from time to time. So just for you and anybody else like watching, because naturally this is for everybody, in the top right corner when you're logged into Scalability, there's a blue circle with the little white chat kind of bubble in it. If you click on that, it'll pop up a chat window, and then down at the bottom, click messages, and that'll let you start a live chat with one of our tech team. And that's 24/7, 365. So if you have W-2 jobs or it's the middle of the night, you just can't sleep, you're working on stuff, you can still jump on
Mhm.
there and ask them and they'll dig into the tech side of things for you.
Okay.
But
I'll
that
have to
sounds
check
like
with
it's
them.
probably going to be a tech thing because I know we do that and we put images in there and they've sent out just fine. I build everything in the workflows. So I know like all of our onboarding and emails and everything, we have pictures and links through all those and they're sending out just fine. And I know that we have your dedicated domain and everything set up properly. So all of that stuff's working. So my guess is it's a bug issue.
Okay.
It's buggy. Anything else? How's everything else going?
Pretty good. Yeah. Can't complain.
Coming along? Coming along
Coming
okay?
along.
You getting better at
Yeah.
building your web pages and all that type of stuff?
I haven't really had time to go in there here the past week or so to mess around with it, but I did have that workshop, and I used a workflow that you had built for
Hmm.
another workshop, and I just
Okay.
went in and updated the wording and all of that.
Nice.
So I finally got that to working correctly, and yeah, I was going to ask you too, like when people send me messages through Instagram,
Hmm.
like in Instagram, I'll put like if in the like if I do a reel or something and I'll say, for whatever, comment mindset for my
Yeah.
growth mindset workbook. So when I do that and somebody does that, it automatically comes into my scalability, correct?
If you have it connected, yes.
Yes,
So,
it's connected.
okay, yeah. So if somebody responds to your comments, they'll show up. Like,
Mhm.
well, I take that back. If somebody sends you a direct message, it will show up in Scalability. If you
Okay.
want somebody to respond to by a comment on a post
Hmm.
and you want that to come in and trigger things, that's actually an
Hmm.
automation you have to build. So
Okay.
let me step back and make sure I clarify. If somebody sends you a DM in Instagram, that will show up inside of Scalability if you have your Instagram connected, right?
Yes.
If you want to say, hey, this is Aaron with Scalability, comment free thing and below, and I'll send it to you. If somebody
Hmm.
just comments on your post, that's not going to
Hmm.
show up in Scalability. You would have to check that on Instagram, but you can build a an automation for that, and
Hmm.
that automation, you can make it to where if somebody responds to that post with your keyword that you tell them to,
Yes.
it can automatically text them and send them a DM and stuff like that. So let me pull up a demo. I'll show you guys what that looks like real quick, because that's one that a lot of people are interested in and can
Hmm.
be leveraged very well to um, collect information. So let me pull up a demo account real quick. I'll show you guys what I mean. I know we've talked about it before, but it's good to review because we talk about a lot of stuff. I can find it. There we go. Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay. So I'm in a demo account here in Scalability. When you guys log in, you're always on your dashboard. If you click on automation here on the left, first of all, make sure your Instagram account is connected. So that would
Hmm.
be settings on the bottom left corner. And then in this left side menu, you're going to scroll down till you see integrations. Click on integrations, and right here, you'll see Facebook, Instagram, and it'll have you log in and select your page. Once you connect this, you'll be integrated or you'll be connected to your Facebook and your Instagram, right? So now if we go back and we click on automation on the left, create a workflow in the top right, and then we can select a recipe. This is going to choose from all the ones that are pre-built. It'll bring this up. So if we scroll down right here in the middle, you'll see Instagram comment automation. Okay. If I select that one, it's going to build that for you automatically. And see here, this shows the trigger is an Instagram comment on a post. So if I click that, I can edit this. And here I can choose the page and select your Instagram account. So you're going to say, this is the Instagram account I want to use. That's the filter. And then you can add a
Hmm.
filter underneath that. Well, I can't add a filter because I can't select a page. But when you select your page, you'll be able to choose pages, contains phrase, exact match. So this is basically saying that when somebody comments on this page with contains the phrase, whatever, then that's going to trigger the rest of these things underneath it to happen, right? So we're saying when they comment on my Instagram, respond on comment is the first thing that's going to happen, which means the system will respond to them on your Instagram. So if you
Hmm.
say comment below free toolkit and somebody posts a comment free toolkit, and the trigger says when somebody responds with free toolkit, it sends it down and you're going to respond back. When you click on this, you can change the responses. So, hey, check your DM. Thanks for showing interest. Please check your DM. You can just type in here and change what it says. You can add more. Like, let's say I want to add another one that says, I just sent it to you in DM. Now I've added 3 choices here. So what that means is if I make an Instagram post and I say comment free toolkit below, and there's 100 comments of free cool toolkit in the comments, if you only have, hey, check your DM here, it's going to respond to every single one of those in the comments. Hey, check your DM. Hey, check your DM. Hey, check your DM. You could write 10, 12 different responses here, and it's going to take the first one. So the first person that comments, it'll respond, hey, check your DM. Second comment, it'll say, thanks for showing interest. Third comment, it'll say, I just sent it to your DM. So it sounds more like you're actively working it,
Mhm.
instead of interacting with it like all just sounding automated. So that's what these are.
Right.
Then it's going to scroll down here and it's going to reply to the comment via DM. So this is saying it's going to respond on the comment in the comments section. Then it's going to send that person a direct message in their DM. So here you could actually put the link, click here to get your free toolkit and link it.
Mhm.
And it'll send this out as a direct message to them. So this is the automation that allows you to basically grab it, puts it to work,
Mhm.
and then it just drops it here, right?
Yes.
So that's how you can like leverage that. Make sense?
Yes, complete sense. I love it. Thanks.
Makes sense, and it causes more questions. The way all good technology should. So, what's up? Anybody else have questions? Anything I can do to serve you this week? For those of you catching the first one, Kristen, I haven't seen you in a while. Ann, what's up? Hey, Ralph. For those of you guys, like, this is open forum. So if you have questions, feel free to unmute, raise your hand, whatever. And it's literally how do I straighten you out and helping you win. So feel free. Anybody got any questions or anything I can do this week? Go ahead, Ralph.
It's good to be here. Got my time management corrected, but when I'm setting up communities, is it best if I set those up or maybe another team member?
It doesn't
If
really matter.
it
Whoever
doesn't,
sets them up, like if you set it up, you'll be automatically created as the admin, if you will, and you'll be the only one that can make changes to the settings.
okay, that's what I was worried
Yeah,
about.
so like we're building yours, Ralph, right now. And today we mocked up the 3 communities for you, the 3 groups. We actually logged in as you and set them up so that you're the admin of them. So when you go to check them, you'll just be able to click log in on them and it will take you directly into them. And then you'll see the settings to be able to add courses, make changes, whatever you want.
Oh, great.
So when
Yeah,
we're setting them up for people, we'll go into your account as you and set them up. If you guys are setting up groups, communities inside your own scalability accounts, if you have a team member do it, the system recognizes they're the one that's logged in and they'll be the only admin with the settings permission. And so then they'll have to invite you to the group and then you join the group and then they can give permissions to you to be the admin to make settings and things or make changes and stuff.
yeah, because my plan was to have like 20 different communities that I'm going to create. But then later on, as people develop a new committee or
Mm-hmm.
want a new community, they may do it
Yeah, I
if
gotcha.
they have permission.
Yeah, if they have permissions. So the only people that'll be able to do it are the ones that are actively staff members in your scalability accounts.
Right. And
But
that's
But too, like Ralph, we're building your project for you. So we're going to do the 3, but you can jump in there and start playing with and creating some others if you want. Like go ahead and create some, get a feel for it, see how it works, jump in, make some changes. Then when we're done with the 3, you'll just be more familiar with them.
right. Okay, that's
So that's good
great.
to play. And for those of you who don't know, Scalability now has full communities. They kind of mimic a Slack channel and a Facebook group like it came together. And so you can create different discussions on the left that look like a Slack channel, like click here for, start here, beginner, start here, welcome, join here, right? Or whatever. And you can pin posts and you can make posts with pictures and everything else. So you can do different conversations and then you can add courses and everything directly in there as well. So you can sell access to them or have your free communities either way. But honestly, like school came out and got so popular and Facebook groups have always been a thing and Slack channels have always been a thing. Our communities, our groups inside of Scalability now, it models all those things. So everything that school does, Facebook groups, Slack channels does, it's merged into our communities and that's what ours look like. Right now, school has calendars and we don't have calendars, but it's actually being developed right now and should be out within the next couple months. We should have calendars built in and everything to where it'll look exactly like the school platform or function like the school platform. So if you click on, I believe it's memberships in the left side column when you guys are logged in, and then, nope, I'm sorry, courses. I'll actually just show you guys since we got a demo account. Let me show you guys where to find those. Because lots of people are doing communities. Communities have tons of value. So it's good to kind of understand them. When you log into Scalability, over here on this left side menu, scroll down a little to courses. You see courses, click on that. Then at the top, you'll see courses, communities, certificates. If you hover over communities, you see groups. And you click on groups, this will bring you to where you can create groups. And so if I create a group right here, it'll let me give it a name and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Branding, you'll be able to change your favicon, cover image, logo, all that type of stuff, and then create a group. Let me see if it'll let me create it. We'll just say tests. Test group. Create. Let's see if it'll let me create one without all the stuff on it. Since it's a demo account, everything's empty. So once you create your group, it'll show up just like this. So see here, we've clicked courses on the left, communities, groups at the top, and this group is here, the one we just created. So if I click log in, it's going to take me to the client portal. This is what everybody will see to come into your group is the client portal. So if we go back into Scalability here and click on sites on the left again, and then at the top, you'll see client portal. Click on dashboard. This is where you'll actually set up your client portal and design it and everything else to where it looks how you want it. So this is an example for Systems U. When they log in, this is what they see on the inside. Naturally, I'm giving you the pieces that are very blank, right? Obviously, this client portal will have design pictures on the right and logins on the left, and you can make this look however you want. Then when you log in, it has this layout. They'll see a header image, and here they'll be able to put their own social channels and things about them and have a profile. They can click join a group, and it'll actually show them the groups. And this is what the groups look like inside. So remember I said it's kind of a mesh between Slack channel, where we can do these, right? Marketing tactics, announcements, start here. This is kind of a Slack style. There's different channels. But then right here is kind of like a Facebook group. If I click here, I can add pictures, videos, attachments, links, emojis, GIFs. I can create a post just like any other group. And there's a timeline right in the middle. And then on the right, you can actually put like a description of what the group's about. You can have links to different things. So like a calendar for events, a link to join the weekly Zooms, become an affiliate now. This just links out to our sign up page to become an affiliate. And then at the top, you can see the different members that are a part of the group. This is still just a test group. We don't use these much. We've just set them up and played with them just to show people. And then at the learning up top, you can actually add courses where people can access your free courses here too. So this kind of brings groups and communities with Scalability can bring everything together to where they log into your client portal. And then inside, they'll actually be able to access the groups. And if you have an affiliate program and they're an affiliate, they can click to access affiliate earnings, and they'd be able to see the leads that have come through their links, the customers, the commissions they're owed, the dashboard, all of their affiliate information in the same place as well. And if you have courses, they can see the courses inside the groups. So it's like you can give people free courses, paid courses, free communities, paid communities, and access to all of it with their affiliate stuff all right here in this one deal. So they just log into client portal and they can access everything in one place. It simplifies things down for everybody else. And so that's going to be your client portal, sites on the left, client portal at the top, and then courses on the left, communities and groups. And that's how you'd create your groups. Once you have your group created, when you log in, you can actually add courses to the top in that learning section. I know that was super fast, but ultimately it's how do I answer your questions to get you moving? It's a quick overview so that you can then dig into it. Is that helpful on those? Cool. Kristen, how are you doing? I like to call everybody out, so.
Good, good, good.
Good.
Just
How's everything going? You guys been moving some deals and keeping busy?
We've been focusing on fix and flips lately. So just finished one last week and got an offer
Nice.
in 4 days and closing in about 6 weeks. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we haven't really honestly done much in the CRM. So going to start focusing on that now and yeah, shift our efforts a little bit. So narrow our
Well,
focus. And so I thought I'd jump on this call and see what it was all about. Been wanting to, just hadn't made it. So
cool, cool. Well, glad you made it. These are all about the strategy. So if you're like, how do we make things work from this to this, or how should we bring our customers into our business, or we're
mhm.
looking to scale, or we're bringing on team members, how do we operate with them? That's where you come here, and I'll help you literally strategize that out. We've done full start to finish customer journeys on these live calls, like screen shared and went through somebody's business. So this is very much how do we help you win with the strategy to make it work.
Okay.
As you start doing like multiple deals in your teams, maybe managing them through your CRM, building the pipelines, one thing, figuring out how to get people to use it is the strategy behind it, right?
Mhm.
So this is really your strategy. And then, like I mentioned, I think at the beginning with Kelly, but again, the blue chat bubble at the top right corner with the white little chat thing, click on that, click on messages. That's live chat with our tech team. So if you guys have tech questions, anytime you can jump in there and then here, come in and like get your questions answered on how to make it work. So cool. Well, feel free to shoot us a text too, since like you're just getting into the stuff we built for you. If you have questions as we move, where things at, shoot us a text or an email too, since we like handled that build for you. Want to make sure that you feel good with it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Hey, one
Cool.
question. This communities groups that you were just showing,
Mhm.
we have two partners, and so we've been looking at like using one platform to be able to communicate because we're having messages and text message messenger, and then it's like an email, and
Mhm.
we're trying to keep everything straight
Uh-huh.
in one. Is this something that we could set up with like our two partners to be able to? I know
Mhm.
it's a little bit different concept, but we're just trying to look at some place where we can, for each property as we acquire it, be able to put all of the notes in one place rather than
Yeah.
in different
Are
places.
you, when you say you have partners, are they
Mm-hmm.
partners enough that they're on your team to be able to like work inside of your CRM?
Uh, Potentially. I mean, we're still marketing in different areas, so
So
um,
the reason I bring this up, and so this might help, let me answer, and then maybe it'll help guide that next question or the answer for you. Um, Lots of people do this, right? It's one of the biggest things with working with a team or partners or anything is all the notes are all over the place. And that is the point of scalability. Get rid of all those different things and do it all in one place. So we use the contact profile, right? Inside of scalability, when a contact is created, a full profile is created. And on that profile, you can add notes. You can assign tasks to yourself or anybody else on the team. You
oh,
can text the client from there. You can email the client from there. Everybody can. So, like scalability and my personal cell phone number is the company number. Each person on my team does not have a different number and a different email address.
mm-hmm.
Everything is the same number and the same email address because all the team members on scalability operate from inside of scalability. So if I'm busy, my executive assistant could jump in and respond to clients, and they don't know if they're talking to me, to him, to a tech team, but
Mm-hmm.
all they know is they're getting taken care of, right? And if I ever need to go, where are we at with this person? Then I can jump into the contact profile and I can see right there in the middle column that a text was sent by Hoel on this date and time. A text was sent by me on this date and time. They responded on this date and time. All the communications in the middle. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm always able to see everything that happens with that person. And then in your case, where you're doing real estate, you guys have seller contracts, buyers contracts, scope of work for your flips, receipts. You can, there's a full document section on the contact profile. So you can upload those documents right there and they're held on the contact profile.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody who needs to know where are we at with this, the
Mm-hmm.
notes, tasks assigned, all the documents, every text, every email, it's all right there in that one place. And then everybody on the team could access it at any time and see. The reason I like to do that is because if somebody on the team, like people don't like to say this, but let's be honest, if somebody on your team just dies tomorrow, Do you know how to jump in and see where you're at with every person, every project, and know exactly how to keep running, right? You know, if your spouse passes away, how do you step into their business and actually run the thing? Which
Mhm.
also down the road makes it a sellable business
Mhm.
because anybody could step in and run it, right? So especially for real estate, we'll use a pipeline. So you have like a new lead where you're like follow up to close and then send the contract. And now we've started the construction and everybody on the team just logs into Scalability, sees where the project is on the pipeline, clicks on the name and goes to the profile and you can see every text, email, things like that. Does that make sense?
Yep, 100%.
You could also use the community. Like if you didn't want to have them as staff members and you don't want to have them in the system, you could just create a community and say, hey, this is where we're going to do all the projects. And you could create one of those channels off to the left for each address.
Okay.
And you're just going to end up with kind of a Facebook feed, right? That middle section is going to be a timeline. It's just going to be a long feed of everything going on. So it could work for you guys to like swap notes and talk about where the project is. They could be used for that for sure. It'll be more efficient even to have them in the system and using the contact profiles. And if you don't want to have access to everything, you can simply add somebody as your team member and give them just user permissions to only assign data, which means only if it's assigned to them. So you can toggle on and off everything to where people can't see anything.
Okay.
So let me show you that real quick because I think that's important. A lot of people are going, that's a lot of information. What do you mean? Inside Scalability again, if I click on contacts on the left, naturally fake account, so everything's fake. But if I click on this person, this is a contact profile. So over here on the left, it has name, phone number, email, all that for, let's say, the seller, right? Here, all the information for the house, right? And then in the middle, this is all the texts and emails that have been sent, right? So if you see down here at the bottom, there's an email address over here on the left. So it brings up email right here. I can click email and write an email to this person right here. And when I send it, it's going to show up right above. It shows up right here in the middle. If there's a phone number over here, I'll just use something. If I have a phone number on this side, it's not going to let me do that. We'll see if that's a legit number. Okay. That's a made up number, by the way. Don't try calling it. But if I save that and now there's an email and a phone number on the left, it's going to give me the option to text on that profile as well, right there in the middle. As soon as my computer reloads. There we go. So right here in the middle, you see where it says SMS now and email? That's just because there's a phone number here and there's a phone at the top. So I could click this black phone and it will call directly from my computer and I can call the person. I can send a text right here just by texting and hit send and it'll log that text. And see here, it's saying the text was sent. It'll put the date and time and it'll put by who sent it. Right above it is the time that the email was sent and it shows who sent it. See, there's no phone number, so it didn't go through, but it's showing the date, time, and everything right here in the middle. So if all of your team members, like let's say you had 3 team members and you're all communicating with the seller to get the house bought and do different things, everybody could text from right here and call from right here, and it would all be logged right here in the middle. And then on this right side, up here at the top, the pencil, I can click add a note. I can add a note, click save, and it's going to timestamp it with my name, the date and time, so that everybody knows this is the note that was entered by Aaron at this date and time. So I can enter the note. Apparently the live is messing with the speed of my computer today. But when it saves that, then I can click on tasks right here above it, and I could create a task for the next person. So I could just say follow up. And then in here, you could type whatever you want to whoever, and you could assign it to anybody on your team. So if they were a staff member, you could assign like, hey, call the painter and tell them to get started on Monday. And you could assign this task to whoever on your team handles that. right? You give it a due date, click save, and that'll show up on the dashboard. And then at the top over here where it says documents, this works kind of like a Google Drive. You can upload and organize all the documents right here for every deal you have going on. So if we go into settings on the bottom left, and then we click on staff members in the left, I'll get to your question in a second, Ed, or I'm Ralph. If I click add employee, you just put in their name, email, phone number, and then here on the left, there's roles and permissions. You can make them a user, and this says all records. You can say only assigned data, and then you can toggle off individually all this different stuff, and it won't even show up in their account. So when we log in here, you're seeing all of this stuff over here on the left menu. If you toggle all that off to where all they get is the calendars and the contacts, conversations, get rid of the dashboard and everything, funnels, marketing, you can just take all of it away from their thing. When they log in, all they'll see on this left side is conversations, calendars, contacts. Everything else will be gone. And if you have 10,000 contacts in there, they'll only be able to see the ones that have their name assigned to them because it's only assigned data. So that's the way we like to kind of get the whole crew in so that all the contacts are owned by us in the software, right? To where if somebody quits or something happens to them, we can just jump into the contact profile and see where we're at and then pick up from there. Does that help seeing it? Okay. It's honestly just a preference. Some people are like, I don't want people in my CRM. Okay. We got a guy doing $1 million a year. He's got like 15 different coaches, and him and his executive assistant, the only two in the scalability. Everybody else just gets automated emails. The coaches get automated emails, letting them know when they have new clients and everything else. It's fine. It works for them. We have a guy with a mortgage company who's got, I think, like 19 loan officers. Every one of them, he adds them as a staff member, only assign data to them, and they run everything from their pipelines because he wants it all in there and he doesn't want to touch it. He wants them to handle it. So it's just a preference. But your groups would work too. It just won't be as, like, you won't be able to see the texts and emails. You'll just have to take the notes they give you, right? That kind of a thing.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Go ahead, Ralph.
I believe you covered it because I was looking at creating special teams, like sort of like different departments within an organization.
Yeah. Okay.
And sometimes I don't want to see all of it. There's
right.
too much.
Yeah.
But have it go directly to the team lead, who will then assign the task to the other team members.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like,
yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, looking the way you described it there, I can create
kind of answers that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can assign content to different people or data to different people. And then automations are built to where it triggers the appropriate person.
Right.
So like when a form is submitted, if you don't want to see it, then you don't create anything to trigger you, right? You create it to where it sends the notification to whoever on the team is supposed to handle it. It assigns a task to whoever on the team is supposed to handle it. When you guys log into your dashboard and then you scroll down a little bit, you'll see tasks. And you can sort by tasks for you or tasks by everybody, and you can see what tasks are assigned. So like there in the profile I showed you, you can manually assign tasks, but you can also create automations to where when somebody fills out a form online, it creates a task for somebody to do something. And then it waits 3 days and it creates a follow-up task. And you build that in an automation once, and then it creates the tasks, and the tasks show up on the dashboard for the person it's assigned to. So yeah, there's multiple ways to do it. It's just a preference on whether you like people in your system, you don't like people in your system. And then, like I tell everybody, the best software on the market is the one you'll use consistently. Like software is software. That's why I do Freedom Fridays, is because software is software. It's all overwhelming and will do more than most of you will ever get to, right? Like facts. Scalability does way more than I'll ever use it for. We have people ask questions. I'm like, I don't know. We don't use it for that. That's a tech question. I've never done that with it. It will do it, but I just don't use it for that. So like get in and play with the software. Like take 30 minutes every day to just get in there and just poke around, like click on the buttons and see what's where. And you'll start to learn so much about it that it'll get really easy to use. But if you don't, like if you wait and you only get in there every 3 months, it's always going to seem overwhelming. Kristen's smiling like, yeah, I haven't touched it.
I can definitely relate to that because
Everybody can.
now when I go in, like you were talking about, I go straight to the dashboard, and then a lot of times I go to the sites because
Yep.
that's what I'm working
That's where
on.
you've been playing. Yep.
Yeah, and before it was like, where was those communities?
Yep.
But it's just been more familiar with it, and the more you use it to just practice.
Yep. If you get used to just poking the buttons, the first thing that happens is you start remembering where things are. Once you feel confident where things are, you'll naturally, it's kind of weird, you naturally feel more confident making changes and playing with things. But until you feel confident enough to even find it, you won't make any changes to it, which is odd, right? Because if I just show you where it's at, people won't go in and immediately start making changes. They'll go in and be like, oh, I don't want to break anything. It's like, but if they know where to find it, I'm like, you remember where it's at? They're like, oh yeah, communities, groups, it's right there. Be like, perfect. Have you made any changes? Most of the time they're like, yeah, I've been in there playing. It's like, because if they know how to find it, there'll be a confidence behind making some changes to it. Because a lot of people are afraid, well, if I play with it and I make changes and then I got to run, I come back, I'm not going to know how to get back where I was. So it's interesting. If you just the 30 minutes every day of poking around, it will give you confidence to start really digging deeper without actually having to create the confidence. So yeah, consistency for sure. Hey, Ann, now that you took a bite of food, got anything to say?
Calling me. I have to give a shout out to Kristen. She's like, why do I see you on here? I'm like, you know what? I can't find the email, but hey, give me hi there.
Well, Anne's been around for a long time with me, so I naturally had to wait for her to be eating and then call her out. That's just the relationship we have.
I been using it for what? How long? Jeez. Over 2 years now?
It's
Pretty sure.
close.
I'm loving it every day. It's helping me with my monthly follow-up, so I don't even have to send a text. It just does it for me. It does it even for I'm a real estate investor, for those of you that don't know me, but it helps me keep up with my buying partners. And yeah, I don't I'm with y'all. I don't mess with it. Aaron knows. I automation, so I've gone in there and done some of my own with different aspects of my business, but yeah, I don't.
Anne's got to a point though, where like at the beginning, it was the same thing. Like, how do I do all this stuff? It's overwhelming. And then she started creating. Anne's actually one of those people that started using it in a way that I hadn't used it. And I was like, oh man, I got to figure this out because Anne's doing this thing and I'm trying to help her and I don't know how to do it. And so it's funny though, because in the beginning, it's that way, right? Everybody starts learning something different and then you learn from other people or you just learn by playing, right? She started like integrating things and now she's like, I don't mess with it. Well, that's because now she has stuff built and she's got a system and a process that's working. She's not trying at this point, she's not trying to learn everything scalability does because that's a learning loop that she doesn't need to be stuck in. Now it's like the thing's working. Now I just need to go do deals and make money. That's what Freedom Fridays is all about. Is me, I'm typically going to try to reel you back in and go, what are you working on? Focus on those points. So Kristen, if you were going to use the communities then for like organizing your team and having the communication there and you say, that's the way I'm going to go, then I would be like, don't waste your time with courses over here or necessarily this other thing, right? Don't try to make staff members and figure that out work. Just do the community because that gets your people operating in the place and you'll get better at it the longer you use it. Anne's just gotten to the point where she's like, I have automation in place. We got sales pipeline. We track all of our deals. We run the contacts and it works. So there's very little dialing and tweaking from that point.
I've been connected to my Facebook ads as well, so when I want to run them, it's connected, so it just flows right in.
Yep. Cool, cool. Does that spawn any other questions for you guys, or do you feel good this week? Because as always on these two, I'm always going to push you guys to money-making tasks, not just to sit in here just to talk for an hour or two just because it makes us feel good to have friends. I'm going to be like, how do I straighten you out and get you winning? Now go do the money-making tasks. So,
Curious question for you, Aaron.
yeah.
What Kristen was talking about. Now, is she not able to create a new board for that? Oh my gosh, he's gonna
The
kill me.
pipelines.
Pipeline.
Yep.
Um, a pipeline for that. And then just give that her partners that access to just that pipeline.
You could. Yep. That's what I said. There's multiple ways to do it. Let's look at, because pipelines for real estate especially is a good one. So here's that demo account again. If we go to pipelines on the left, which Kristen, take a look at yours, click on pipelines. I believe we created one for you already, so there should be one there. But pipelines here, right? This is going to give you like the stages of your business, and these cards for people can be slid side to side as your business. So if you're in real estate, it's you could make this the stages of the deal, right? So new lead, follow up, and then this could be send contract, and this could be contract signed, and then contract complete, start, create property packet, blast out to buyers. Like each one's a step, and you just slide the card through. So what Ann's saying is, and this is the way I would do it too. This is the pipeline. We would use a pipeline for start to finish, from a new lead to owning the property, to starting construction, to finishing construction, closing with title. Like it would all be in one long pipeline. And then we would get our team in here so that you could have team meetings and say, all right, quick, let's take a look at the projects. You pull up the pipeline and you go, okay, this one, where are we at with it? And everybody just goes, this is what's going on. This is what's next. Great. Go to the next one. Because it lets you see all of them and where they're at in the process, right? But each one of these, if we just click in this white space, it opens up here and we can check the notes and see the notes. We can click the tasks and see any tasks, and then go back to the details of where it's at in the pipeline here, the source, where it came from, things like that. And then we can just slide it over to the next stage. Now, the deeper process is when we slide this over to the next step, like we slide this over to complete, we can build automation behind the stage for complete. So when anything that slides over and drops there like that, that's the trigger for an automation, is pipeline stage change to complete. And upon it dropping there, with us just moving that over, it sends a text message to these people and tells them, hey, we're done. It was amazing working with you. Click here to give us a 5-star review, and send them over to your Google, right? It can send emails out to people. Hey, we're done. Thanks for everything you did to make this thing possible. Let us know if there's anything else we can do. It can text everybody on your team and say, hey, the project's done. Thanks for doing an awesome job. Like we create automation for each one of these stages. So then all you have to do is slide it over, and it's going to, in follow-up, for instance, we would create an automation that waits 2 days and then assigns a task to the person on the team who's responsible for this person to follow up with them. And then as long as this card sits here, it's going to wait 2 days, and it's going to remind you to follow up with them. Wait 3 days, remind you to follow up with them. Wait 5 days, remind you to follow up with them, until you move over, and then that automation stops and this automation would start. If you build automation in the pipeline, you can just slide cards, and then the automation reminds you and your team what to do. And when you bring in a new employee, it's like, here's how we work them on the pipeline. When you slide it over, these things are going to happen. And anybody can step in and just slide cards and update notes and assign tasks. And the automation kind of helps support that to make sure people don't miss things and things aren't, projects move like they're supposed to.
Is she able to have like just the partners only have access to that board and not her other boards?
Yeah, so if we do, well, no, I'm not sure. That's a good question. If we go to my staff and we add somebody, and then we click roles permissions, right here is where you toggle everything on. So if we scroll down, my mouse is going crazy. We scroll down to pipelines or opportunities right here. View and manage opportunities. Looks like it's kind of an all or nothing type of a thing. Now, I take that back. If it's only assigned data, they may be able to see the pipeline, but they'll only see the contacts on that pipeline that are assigned to them. So the pipelines they could still see, but none of the contacts or opportunities would be there unless they're assigned to that team member.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
like, yes, I was like, it's funny because we have so many things moving on automation now. I forgot about it, but we're doing this with our sales guy. So our sales guy has access to our full pipeline. Like he sees all the stages, but he only sees the contacts and the opportunities on the pipeline that are assigned to him. So anybody he creates and puts on there, it's automatically assigned to him and he's able to follow up with them and move them through the process, but he doesn't see where we're at with anybody else. So yes, they would see the full pipeline, but they would only see the stuff that's assigned to them. If you go up here, you make them a user and then only assign data. See,
That's
these are good for
great.
me too, because it reminds me of things. What?
That, that's great. I can throw away my Gantt charts and project management and just dump it right there. That,
Yep, exactly.
that's so awesome.
What, Ann?
I guess
That's
you put there.
You cut out again. Say it again.
I guess I do play around in there, I guess.
Yep. Yep, exactly. These are good questions because a lot of people are unsure, right? Like the software and our tech team would show you how to build the pipeline, but how do we use the thing for our team to get our teams working together? It's like, this is perfect conversation. This is what you guys, as the owners of your companies, should always be doing. Your staff and your team members should be working the process and making sure things get done. You should be looking at the system and going, how can we make it smoother? How can we make it operate better? How can we automate the stages of the pipeline and then have somebody build it or you build it, right? But as the owner of a company, in order to create a company that is scalable and that actually does grow and could grow, you should spend the most of your time looking through things like that and going, how do we make it smoother? How do we make this work to that? How do we make everybody communicate better? And that's the reason we use the contact cards for everything. One phone number, one email. It's just smoother. That's it. Is it cool to be like, yeah, we got 20 people on our team and everybody has their own email address and their own phone number? Yeah, but it's a pain in the butt because as soon as somebody quits the company, it's like, oh, how do we get into their email? Because they changed the password. It's like they've locked us out of their email. And now we don't know what they were talking about with the clients. It's like, is it professional and cool? Yeah, it is. It's like, does the company look smaller when there's one phone number, one email? Maybe. It runs smooth though. It works for me, right? Like other people like it the other way, but I like it that way. So like which way works in your world to get everybody kind of moving in your direction to where you can teach them from one to the next? Because the idea is if you got 100 houses under contract tomorrow, could you manage them? Right? If I brought in 100 new clients tomorrow, could we manage them and actually handle those projects to where things don't get missed? And every one of those clients feels the same interaction and the same customer support as if we just had one. We're set up. We could take 1,000 new builds tomorrow because we have automation built for tons of stuff. We have a pipeline to where we know where everything is. We have a sync every single day. So we know what's going on with each project every day at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. We have automation built in so that our follow-up doesn't get missed, so that people feel like, oh, they are working on my stuff. Oh, they do know where we're at with things, right? And we're always making it better. It doesn't mean it's the best, like, but we're always making it better. How do we make it better? Add more notifications in to where people get updated more often. How do we reach out to people? Stuff like that. You guys should always be kind of thinking that way, right? You may be the only person doing it right now, and that's okay. It should be, how do I make this smoother for myself? In a way that if I hire a virtual assistant from the Philippines, or my spouse comes to help me, or my kids come to help me, how could they step in and run this for me or run pieces of it for me? If you guys focus on that, it'll really kind of open your eyes to things that scalability will do in the direction that will work for you and your company. And it will give you that kind of comfort or that peace of mind. We'll say peace of mind to where you know things are being handled, right? and you know kind of where they're at. Like as long as I have the daily sync and I know what's going on with the projects, I don't actually need to interact with every client. Right? Like honestly, Howell handles like all the client interaction for now, and I really don't know where we're at with most of the projects. He's the one that does. But if he ended up quitting tomorrow, all the interactions on our pipeline and in the contact profiles. So all I would have to do is take a couple hours, jump in there and start looking through projects, reading texts and notes, and I would be up to date with everybody. And they would get the same phone number, the same email correspondence, whether he was here or I was here. And the customer would feel seen and would feel confident because everything's the same as whether one person was there or the next, right? You want your customers to be confident that you're going to be around doing the thing, right? If I start skipping these, you're going to be like, oh no, what's going on? If we stop responding to your messages, you send a tech support, and sometimes with tech support, it could take hours, right? If 100 people have tech questions all at the same time, tech's just tied up, and it takes a little while for them to get through them because they're working one at a time. You start to lose confidence in the tech support though, right? Because those are the bad reviews we get. I was on there for 30 minutes waiting. I was like, yeah, there was a really high workload yesterday at just that time. But then people draw that conclusion from one interaction of, oh, I don't know, their tech sucks. It's like tech's there 24/7. You're judging it on 1 hour worth of interaction, right? But that's what people do. So how do you as the company owner, right, build a process that lets people know they're seen and keeps you up to date with your people so that you know if anybody on your team came or went, you could step in, or anybody could, and run that or take it over. Think that way even at the beginning. If you think that way in the beginning, it's easier. I've been brought into companies that did $100 million across their companies, and that is a mess that you don't want to have anything to do with. Like 12 different softwares, everybody's doing something differently their own way. And anytime you try to streamline it and smooth it out, they have bad habits in place to where they're like, yeah, but, and they just keep doing the stuff that's keeping them stuck. So it's like in the beginning, when it's just you or just you and one partner, it's a whole lot easier to get good habits and create systems to where when you bring in 5 new people, they all do things your way and everybody knows exactly how they're doing it. That allows you to really put people in and swap people in and out a lot quicker too. Yeah, Ralph, go ahead.
It really wasn't a question, but it's a comment that kind of we discuss contingency plans because we have so many people that are compartmentalized doing specific tasks, and if something happens to them, and this really builds the confidence, transparency, and you may have heard of Basecamp.
Yeah.
I've tried it, and how do you get everybody on board with that? That's just another system thrown in there. But this puts it all in one spot where now we got a progress chart, if you want to call it a chart. Not really a chart, but helping people go through the stages of the pipeline, and everybody knows where we're at.
There's a difference between kind of scalability is more of a CRM style, right? Which is contact management. It's people management, right? We're managing the people and interactions with people. Then there's project management software, which kind of manages more the tasks of a project. So I use scalability in a way that manages our projects from a CRM standpoint, from a customer man, right? Whereas like Basecamp, since you mentioned that one, is more of a project management. So it's built more around where the project is and what's going on around the project, and then things coming from all directions to the project. As opposed to a CRM, which is a customer management. It's where is this person in the journey? And a journey is like a straight line, right? From lead to closed. And I personally have seen that work better to track the person and then assign the tasks to where we're at in the process. That way there's always this straight line from start to finish and everybody's operating on that person as they move. as opposed to the project with a bunch of people moving in different directions. That's personally what we found worked. You have to find what works for you guys, because I know people that love Basecamp, absolutely love it. Me, never clicked. I hate it. I get in, I'm just like, this is a mess. I don't want anything to do with it. And it overwhelms me. And I'm like, I want out of here. And anything can do that. But this is why I say the software that's the best is the one that you'll use. Some people jump in Scalability and they're like, this makes no sense. I hate it. Okay, great. Go get something else. Because if not, you'll hate it and you're going to make us hate it. Because every 2 seconds, you're going to be asking us questions we've answered 15 times because you're just not paying attention. Right. So it's not good for you or for us. Like, go find the one you'll use. So like the biggest thing I tell you from a strategy standpoint is figure out how it works for you. In like the 6 years of coaching that I've done, it was always, this is the system unless you mentally are fighting it. Like if I say, this is the way we're going to do this, and you go, oof, I hate that. I'm like, okay, so real estate, if I say you're going to cold call 2,000 people every single day, if your reaction is, I hate that, you're not going to get 2,000 people done. No matter how disciplined you are, it ain't going to happen. And so is it better to fight the internal story or create a different lead gen process that you actually feel good about and will work? Because if we fight the internal story and try to be disciplined enough to make 2,000 calls, you might make a couple hundred. But if you really like this other method of, say, creating content or something, and you absolutely love it, I may hate it, but if you love it, it will work because you'll be constantly making content and it'll grow and you'll get a following and it'll bring leads. Whereas if somebody hates the idea of making content, they make kind of lackluster content and they kind of post, but not regularly. And the content's not clear and they don't do enough of it to get good at it. And it's just like cold calling 100 instead of 2,000. Find the system or the way that works for you. And then you are the constant in your business. Like, this is important. Those big $100 million companies, I've worked in a few different multi-million dollar companies. Every one of them's a pain and a problem because of the bad habits. And one of the bad habits is we hired these marketing people and they said we need this software. And so we just got the software. I don't know anything about it. And then we hired these people and they said we need this CRM. And so we did that. And then we hired these people and they said they build their funnels over here. And so we got that. And I'm like, but none of you are using any of them. Like, do you understand? Like, how do any of them go together? It's like you just 3 different companies doing whatever they want. And we just kind of try to do whatever they tell us to. So in other words, you're not running your company. All those people are. Right? Like, so if you're running your company, you're the one that can't quit. Like, you quit, the company's dead. So it needs to work for you, right? Somebody comes into my company, you're going to use my phone number, my email address, in my pipelines, in my contacts. If you can't do that, you won't be here very long. Because when you aren't here very long, I have to go back to doing it. And I'm not going to jump over and figure out what you were going to do or what you were doing, and then jump over and figure out what they were doing. I'm creating a system because I'm the constant, right? Everybody else come and go, and they're going to use my way of doing it. It's like my way or the highway. Yes. And you're the one that's doing the business, right? If all of them quit, or let's say business takes a dive, right? We know companies that like Google changed their algorithm and they had to lay off 200 people. Well, the owner's still there. He has to build stuff. He or she has to build stuff where they know how it works. Because if something happens and they have to lay off their whole team, they have to run it. And so if they were trying to do what all the other people were doing and not knowing who's doing what, it's really a mess. And so in the beginning, a lot of people throughout the years have told me, hey, when we get a little bigger, we'll start doing systems and things. I'm like, no, you'll have bad habits and crap everywhere. Like, when it's just you, that's the perfect time to say, this is the way I'm going to do it. And then you look at it and go, how do I make this piece better? How do I make this piece better? How do I make this piece better? And as you bring somebody in, you teach them, this is how I do it. And you teach them how to do it your way. It also gives you confidence to give up the reins to somebody. Because a lot of business owners think, well, I built this thing and now they're in here and they're just doing whatever they want. It's like, well, that means you didn't train them and you didn't have a system. If they come into your business as an employee and they're doing whatever they want, that's why a lot of people feel uncomfortable with employees and they end up running off their employees. If you teach your employees how you do it and they do it like you do it, you'll feel good about everything they do because you'll be like, yeah, that's the way I do it. Boom, you're doing awesome. And then they're happier because you're encouraging them instead of putting them down because they're doing their own thing, right? There's so much that comes from taking some time to look at your hustle as an actual business and build some systems in it to where you could put other people in place, train them on it, be open. I've told $4 an hour virtual assistants, I'm like, hey, this is the system at which we do this, but you're going to be doing it 8 hours a day. So if you see a way that it could be made better, feel free to tell me. Let's dial it in. Let's make it better. You're working it all the time. If there's a way to make it better, I want you to bring that to me. Let's do it. Like, I trust you to do a good job. We're giving you the way we do it. But if you have ideas to make it better, let's do it. Like, Hoel works for me. He's my executive assistant. He has full authority. Bring ideas to me anytime. He can question anything we're doing. If it's something I've tried, I'll be like, oh yeah, we tried that. It didn't work. Blah, blah, blah. This is what happened. And I just educate him on it. He's like, okay, cool. And sometimes like he figures things out and he makes things better. I'm like, ooh, yeah, we haven't tried that. Why not? Let's give it a see. Let's give it a go and see. So like it's put together yet fully flexible. Create your systems, train people on the way to do it, and then give them authority. Hoel doesn't get paid hourly. He gets paid for outcomes. I say, I never want to have to do these things again. Those are yours. If those things get done in 5 minutes or 20 hours a week, I don't really care. He gets paid the same. He handles the outcomes. So I don't micromanage. He gets some free reign to make sure those things get done. I give him a process to handle those things, and then I train him on those things, and then I check those things. But it's not a micromanaging of the hour. It's a, hey, these are your outcomes now. As long as they get done, you have authority to roam in making those happen. So if it's easier for you to do it at midnight and schedule techs to go out the next morning, I don't care. As long as they're getting done, I don't have to do it. Right? The outcome is what we're after. So my business is built around outcomes because it allows me to give my employees more flexibility and it gives them more responsibility. And I'm okay with that. I have friends that are not. Like, it would drive them nuts if they don't know what their employees do in every hour that they're paying them for. I don't care. I don't want to do these things. That's yours. As long as you handle that, hey, I'll pay for time. I pay for speed. So like if I was hiring a coach, I wouldn't pay a coach $10,000 to take a year if they could teach it to me in 30 days. I'd pay $10,000 for 30 days as opposed to $10,000 to teach it to me in a year because it saves me 11 months. I can make money for 11 months now because we got it done in 30 days. I'd pay more to get it done quicker, right? So why would I hire an employee and then be like, I'm going to pay you for 40 hours? Stay busy every 40 hours. We're like, no, I'm going to pay you to handle these things. I never want to see them again. I just want to know they're getting done. So for me, that works because I'm okay with that, right? Like I appreciate time. Time to me is more valuable than anything else. So I feel like I'm actually benefiting my employees by going, here's your pay. If you get everything done in 5 minutes, I don't care. I think you're awesome. You're even more awesome for doing it in 5 minutes because it'd take me 5 hours. So I'm like, cheer you on for speed, go play. I've told Hoel before, I'm like, if you get everything done and you have nothing to do for the next 3 weeks, I would rather you get everything done and have nothing to do for the next 3 weeks. That's my fault for not giving you stuff to do. It's like, I'm okay with paying you for the next 3 weeks because you got it done in this time. Like, because I didn't have to touch it for this time or for the 3 weeks. Like, that to me is what I'm paying for. So you guys got to figure out, how does it work for you? For you, for your employees, what's really important to you? I understand time. I think time is more valuable than money. So for me, that's the reason I see it that way. Time is more valuable to me and time is more valuable to my employees and everybody. So I really revolve around like that concept. Well, like I said, some people it drives them nuts. So find the stuff that works for you guys and then take piece by piece. Is that helpful? Is it like bring up any thoughts or anything before we wrap up?
No, I think that's really good. I've never heard it like that before, Aaron, but I revolve around time too. That's the older I get in life, the more I'm like all about time. And so I think that's a really good concept think about and implement. and
Yeah,
look at.
seeing how fast that time goes.
Yeah.
Understood.
So
Go ahead,
thank
Ralph.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really that mindset shift to really focus on what that last couple episodes, the customer journey.
Hmm.
So you're shifting from, hey, this is what we got to offer, this is what we got to offer. No, we are right alongside you on your journey.
Hmm.
And it just really, the whole shift of focus where we're walking with people rather than showing them where to go.
Yep. Yep.
And it's
Well, and a lot of people hate sales. So if you
mm,
can just learn to walk with people, you don't have to sell anything
right.
because people are like, oh, that's awesome. I just need somebody to hold my hand and tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And you're
And
like, I don't have to sell anything because that's what we do. We'll hold your hand and tell you what to do.
yeah, I was thinking freedom scalability instead of fast scalability because it gives you the freedom to do your life purpose.
Yep,
'Cause,
that's true.
yeah,
That's true. So
yeah.
here's a good one for you just for my coach calls it chocolate broccoli. It's that whole sell them what they want and then give them what they need. Like sell them what they want is the chocolate, the broccoli's inside. That's what they really need, right? Years ago, I've been selling systems and automation for 6 years. Like I've been doing it, coaching it, building it, teaching it. It's like that's been 6 years, systems and automation. What we do hasn't changed. The way it's said on the front side has changed. It's so funny. It was probably 4 years ago. I did a webinar and it was, oh, what was it? It had a picture of me with like a hat and a t-shirt, a backpack on that had my daughter in it where we were backpacking. And it said like how to make $100,000 from a beach in Thailand flipping real estate, something like that. It was along those lines, right? It was really around that freedom, like you're talking about. The freedom is what I'm going to teach you because we do it, right? Like I did 12 deals while living in China, 3 hours a day. I was like, we do this. So the whole idea of like having the freedom is like my jam. I love it. It's like, how get your time back for things that are important. And so I was excited about it. And nobody cared. Nobody. Like it was the biggest flop, the biggest flop ever. And I was like, what? Like everybody I talk to wants time back and wants freedom back. And so we changed it. I put a picture, same presentation, but I put a picture of myself wearing a nice blue suit with a white shirt, red tie, looked really sharp. And it said, I make $100,000 flipping houses or something like that. It was like a simpler thing, but it had a picture of me in a suit looking successful, which was selling wealth and money, which was selling like the idea of if I do this, I could make $100,000 and I'll look rich or I'll be rich. That's what the suit tells people. When you have a backpack on with your daughter in it and you're traveling, that's what everybody really wants. But the chocolate broccoli of it is they're like, the freedom is the broccoli that I really want, but I'm not willing to pay for. And so it's so interesting, right? Fast scalability, people look at their companies and they want to create a scalable company. Fast scalability to people means money. When you say freedom, they're like, so I'm going to have extra time, which is great, but that doesn't really make me money, right? Isn't it interesting? As you develop, this is you guys should be digging into your message. I've got 6 years of my message being systems and automation. There's nothing sexy or fun about systems and automation. It's boring. It's mundane. Oh, we got to show up every day and do our job. Yes, that's part of having a business. Like you can make it better though with systems and automation. So how did we really sell that, right? Because we have to sell it on the front side. And then you come in and we give you the broccoli, right? We sell you with the chocolate. Hey, it's fast scalability. You'll make more money in a shorter amount of time. Like, great. Then we come in and what you really start to see is automation and systems can save you so much time. And you get that family time back. And here's the broccoli. I'm giving you the stuff that you need on the inside, right? That gets you time with your family and everything else. Because I'm the guy that when a friend needs to move, I can go. I'm like, yeah, no problem. I got this. Like, we got systems. Like, let's go. When do you need me? Unless I've got an actual call. which a lot I don't. I only do twice a week. I get calls twice a week. All calls are on those 2 days. The other 3, it's systems implementation, it's making things better, and it's very free and flexible. My daughters want to go do something, I'm pretty flexible. Like, yeah, we could do that. I could do this later. Or automation, we can take care of that. Or I can do it now and I can schedule it to go out later. With scalability, you can click on somebody's name, write a text message at midnight if you wanted to, and schedule it to go out at 8:03 the next morning. So the next morning, the person gets a text first thing in the morning and they feel like you thought about them first thing in the morning. And really, you were just up at midnight hashing things out because you spent the day with your kids. I was like, software and automation gives you that time back. It's the fun stuff inside. But ultimately, figure out your process works for you. Work that in your business, and then you guys look at your business, say, what's important to me? And that is the culture of your business, right? Like working with me is definitely different than what Hoel's used to. And there's been a few times where he's been out with other people and he's come back and he's been like, man, thanks for being who you are. Because he's seen the way other people do things and is like, oh, I was like, yeah, I know. I feel the same way about that. It's like, I couldn't do it either. That's like, it becomes your culture of who you are and the way you do things. You guys as owners really think about it. Even if you're the only person, you have to see yourself as the owner of a business. Like Scalability is not doing it yet, but it will be a multi-million-dollar a year company. So we're building things today that will handle that volume. Like we could handle 1,000 people tomorrow because I'm already thinking, I know this is a multi-million-dollar company. So when it is, it will run efficiently and I'll just learn more and it'll get better. And so right now I'm thinking that way though. In past businesses, I didn't. And I've noticed through the years of coaching people, a lot of people think this is the way it is and the way it'll always be. They're not thinking, what if I had an executive assistant that handled this for me? Just one person. What could that person do? Right? What would that person be worth? So like when Hoel came in, I told him, I said, text messages. I looked at my day. I said, text messages, Facebook messages, YouTube comments, emails, scheduling calendars on appointments. Those things take up the vast majority of my day. Like, so in other words, I can't go and scale the company or create systems because I'm running around answering messages all day, even with the tech team. So we got 24/7 tech. Everybody's texting Aaron. Like, what? Like, how do we fix this? Right? A lot of people think let's handle a sales guy and get more deals, but then you can't handle the deals that they come in. Right? And I'm not going to take credit for this. It's my coach, Dan Martell, is the one that taught me this. But the first thing he does to buy back his time is hire an executive assistant. So the first thing I did was go out and hire an executive assistant. I'm like, what takes the most of my day? That's now yours. And I just keep an eye on it to make sure it's getting done. That's it. I oversee to make sure it's getting done. I give him direction, training, so he can handle it better. That's it. And that bought me back extra time. Now I can take that extra time and design a system for a sales guy. Now sales guys could go and bring in deals and we could actually handle them. Most people start at the other side. Let's get a bunch of marketing. Let's get a bunch of ads. Let's get a bunch of leads. Who's going to talk to them when they come in? All right. How do those leads get responded to within 5 minutes so that you up your chances of closing those leads unless you're using automation or you have a big team? Like, what's the point of 1,000 leads if we know that your chances of closing them drop over 80%, I think it is, within the first 5 minutes of not contacting them? Well, that's a simple automation. But people will go out and seek the leads and they won't build the automation. It's like, take 2 days, a week, whatever. Learn how to build the automation so that every lead that comes in gets a text message and an email, a voicemail drop of you saying, hey, this is Kristen. I saw that I missed your call. Sorry about that. I'll reach back out to you soon. I got meetings all day. I just wanted to let you know that I actually saw you and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Now they'll wait for you because the automation made that happen in the first 5 minutes. Now you could get 1,000 leads in and they would wait because they've been recognized and seen. right? Simple automation. People skip the automation and go to generating a bunch of leads. So how do we get, when you're in the beginning, you build that system thinking of having 1,000 leads tomorrow, having 10 team members. How are they going to come in and work the systems and work in your company? Because every one of you in the back of your head wants that big company. But also in the back of your head, you're probably thinking, it's everything I can do to keep up with what I got going on. And maybe that's in the front of your head. You're like, it's everything I can do to keep up with what I have going on. But like, that's the common place. And this is that shift of, I need to build a system. The system is more important right now, right? Most people would say the executive assistant to handle my emails is not the most important. I need marketing and deals. It's like, no, you need the assistant to handle all this stuff, the busy work that's keeping you from making money. Now, if those leads came in, how do you handle them? Well, now you put an automation. Building an automation is more important than talking to the leads? Yes. Because now you could talk to 100 at a time instead of 2 or 3 when you get time. Right? If we learn to value the systems and the automation, it's going to extremely, extremely increase your productivity to where you can handle more in less time. Freedom, as Ralph likes to put it, which I am a fan of. I could jam on this all day, but go ahead, Kristen.
No, I absolutely love it. It's, yeah, awesome freedom. I think that's what we're all after, right? So, yeah, really good, Aaron. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Cool. You're welcome. Well, anything before we wrap up? Ralph, closing statements? Call it a
No,
weekend?
enthusiasm's still going up. It's like,
Good.
yeah, so that's great. And it just, it's like a paradigm shift. Now I'm seeing more opportunities that allows me the freedom to really work on what I want to work on. So yeah, because that's always been a struggle.
Yeah.
Balance, have 15 plates spinning at the same time, work,
Yep.
life, family,
Mhm.
the whole balance.
Yep.
And this really helps
Yeah.
manage it to.
So that balance is interesting. I had so she's not my blood daughter, but she's my daughter in love. God gave her to me. She's my daughter. I'm her dad. She's 20 years old. She texted me a few weeks ago something about balance. I'm really struggling with balancing this and balancing that. And I asked her a question. I said, well, let me ask you a question. What if balance didn't exist? It's funny. She texted me back like 10 minutes later. She goes, I guess this wouldn't be a problem. I
Yeah,
was
that's
like,
like
maybe
Wayne
balance doesn't
Dyer.
exist then.
Wayne Dyer, he made a comment one time. He said, "You don't have a problem. You only think you do." I'm
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
"Oh wow, yeah, that's
Like,
true."
wait, that's true. To somebody else, it's an opportunity. That's
Uh-huh.
balance doesn't exist. Like it doesn't exist. There's
Mhm.
no way. Anybody, and it's funny because people that'll tell you balance exists, they're probably spending 40 hours a week at work and 2 hours a day with their family. And
Mhm.
they think they're balanced,
Mhm.
but it's simply a 40 to 10. It makes no sense. There's no balance there. It's like get past the idea of balance, get past the idea that there's a problem or things aren't working right, and just go, how do I make this smoother? This is an opportunity to make this better. Ooh, I didn't realize we didn't have a system for that. How do I make a system for that? I've thought that way for so many years now. To me, when people start complaining, I'm like, why didn't somebody just create a system for it? Like, why don't we just figure that out? My first response is, well, that's inconvenient. I can't tell you how many times I've said that when people are freaking out. And then people get mad at me because they're like, that's inconvenient. That's it. I'm like, to me, it's just inconvenient. I feel like there's a way we can solve it. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't overreact, but to me, it's just inconvenient. Surely there's a way we can make this better. It's
Mhm.
like, yeah, shift your mind to that for sure. When you get to that point where you're like, okay, this is just how do we create a system for this? Find the pieces you like to do and keep those for yourself, and then figure a system for everything else out to where you don't have to do those other things. Like that's how you start with it, right? So what's the pieces you love? And then how do you create something that will let other people do the other things for you? And just do one thing at a time. Like you guys, both of you on here, we've built your stuff, so we gave you a system, right? But then you have to look at it, understand the system so that you could teach your people how to run the system and you could use the system. Then it works for you. If you don't do that piece, what was the point of having us build it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You'll just turn around and learn the next thing and waste the time and energy that you and the money that you spent to have us do it, right? So it's really hard for people, especially like you hire us and 2 to 4 weeks later, we're done with it. Typically, you know, if we move along efficiently and everything goes well, right? It's like now we're done with it and people go, everything's built? Surely there's got to be more. What can I blow up? what can be the next problem? Because there's no way that it will just work that way, right? And we go looking for the next problem. But you can just as easily go, okay, well, no, if I learn the steps in the system, then there's a way to make that a little bit better for the problem. Because even if we build everything, just like I told you with mine, I've done webinars and 5-day challenges and everything else, and it's molded and shifted to what it is today. Well, now it's a software company with Freedom Fridays. There was group coaching programs. There was, you know, all sorts of different stuff. But it's like, what works? And then how do we make it just a little better? The software, it was never my idea to have a software company. It's just after 4 years of coaching people, everybody had anywhere from 3 to 15 different softwares. And I was like, I'm literally streamlining their softwares, getting rid of stuff, teaching them how to use pieces, and making it a system for the company to run by. What if we just own the software too? And then what if we could do all of these things in one software? Then every one of my clients would have one login, one password, and everything would be at one place. They go from 12 softwares to one. Like that'd be awesome. And then we develop, you know, like bring in the software. So it's like, it will grow as you try to figure out how do we make it better for our people? How do we make this piece more streamlined? Because I was doing one-on-one coaching, and after a while you go, that's a lot of time sitting on Zoom with one person every week. If I fill up my calendar, I'm losing more time by making more money, right? So now if I get 100 new clients, that's 100 more hours a week of work. I'm like, I don't want 100 more clients. That's horrible. You know, so what's the next stage of how do we serve more people? And the software company with Freedom Fridays, when I said keep the piece you like, I love coaching people and helping people. I hate thinking of people stuck behind their computer trying to make their business work and they can't afford $10,000 for a coach. And they're like, well, I don't know what to do. And they just run around in circles working longer, which typically is just sitting at the computer longer, not doing anything productive because they can't figure out how to do it. I'm like, okay, well, if we sell software, it's $97 a month. I was like, not going to get rich with that. Yeah, you can. You can. There's like, you get 1,000 people at $100, $100,000 a month, right?
Wow.
And you don't have to talk to anybody. It's just subscription fees, right? So you could get rich with software. Some people do. But then I really like coaching people. How do we do that? It's like, well, that's what Freedom Fridays is. I enjoy taking the time to help people win. And so I'm like, I'm going to do Freedom Fridays. I could get other people to do Freedom Fridays or not offer them. We have tech support. We have software. Most software companies don't. Like, well, that's the only reason we custom build too. Like, hey, anything the software can do, we can build for you. You can pay us and have us do it. Because I know people don't have teams. And I know how many years it took me to figure out how to build a stinking website and connect the DNS records to make it work right. So frustrating. I was like, everybody's got that same problem. So we could offer that. And then Freedom Fridays, I could show up and show them how to make it work and answer all the in-between questions that they can't figure out and point them to the right places. So I kept the pieces I like, Freedom Fridays, where I get to pour into people. And then we scaled still and shifted the business right to where it's software, to where we could make $100 a month or $100,000 a month. 1,000 new customers tomorrow, we can handle it all. Every single one of them could show up on Freedom Fridays. You know what's going to happen if 1,000 people show up here? They're going to have the same 10 questions. Somebody's going to ask a question and I'll answer it for 600 people all at once because it's not rocket science. We're all doing business and it's the same key concepts that run every business out there. You've got to systematize it and you've got to streamline it to where anybody could do it. That makes it scalable and sellable, period. And so no matter how many people we have here, I can answer the question, and I'll just answer it for more people all at once. Just
Mhm.
like you said, Ralph, I answered a question while you had your hand up and you're like, I think you answered it already. Yes, exactly. There's 1,000 people are worried about that. What if I have 1,000 people show up on the group coaching call? Trust me, they have the same 5 questions.
Yep.
5 to 10 questions. That's it. It will answer any question in any field. The only difference is whether they're paying attention or not when the question's answered. But
Mhm.
how do you
Mhm.
guys do that with your businesses? I would challenge you, think about that this week. What if you brought in 100 new deals tomorrow? What if you bring in 100 new people tomorrow?
Not
Right?
good.
What if you hired 5 people? My head would explode. Like, no, please, no.
No, not ready.
That-
Not ready.
that's the wrong response. We want to
I
fix
know.
that for sure.
Yes, yes, yes. 100%.
But because I know even with our design team, if we got 1,000 new website builds tomorrow, we could actually handle it. The design even is scalable. The way we have it set up is scalable. So the software will automatically create the accounts, and the design team could quickly and easily be scaled overnight to handle 1,000 new projects. We could still knock them out within 30 to 60 days. Like, you think about that. That's huge.
Mhm.
Like, that wouldn't have happened 6 years ago on my own trying to figure it out. And honestly, I've paid over $100,000 for coaching and masterminds. And the vast majority of those I've been in, I had spent 50 grand on masterminds and still never learned anything about systems. That was my first really frustrating mind shift. Was I've made 108,000, I've invested 50K in coaching and learning, and I still didn't have a scalable business that I could plug people into. And I never even thought about it. Nobody told me I needed to think in the terms of systems and automation to bring more people in to remove myself. And I'm not from a family that did that. I'm the one in my family that's changing the family tree. And I
Mhm.
know a lot of you guys are too. And so if you don't have somebody who's built and had 100 employees, how do you even fathom managing 10 employees? Right? Like, it was a mind shift for me. And so it's very important to me that even at the beginning stages, we get people thinking, how do you get 5 people? Because honestly, it doesn't matter what you're in. All of you have started something because you want out of it. You want out of the rat race. There's pieces you like. There's pieces I enjoyed about flipping houses and doing things, but not if I have to do everything. I hated that. It was time consuming and there was no way for me to do anything else. Right? Nothing. But if I could do the piece I liked and then somebody else did the other junk, it was fun. I like to design it, show up, break some windows, and then leave and let somebody else finish it out. I like bring my kids over and be like, yeah, break something. It's demo day. Do it. Like, go ahead, tear this place apart. We're going to leave. They're going to fix it. Like, that's good flipping.
Mhm. Mhm.
Cold calling, not my jam. But if you had a call center, it's not a big deal, right? So find the pieces you like, figure out how could you bring in one employee or one partner that could do things the way you do. If you start looking at it that way, it'll help you start to systematize things. Where you guys, this is always for anybody watching the replays too. So that's the concept. But with you guys, where we've built your processes, Ralph, like, we're in the middle of yours. So yours is just gonna be like, learn what we're building and how it flows. As you learn what we're building for you and how it flows, you just get that concept down. You'll be like, yeah, this is what happens. Customer comes in here, it flows right through this. These people handle these things, done. And then you figure out how to make them better as you scale, right? Kristen, same thing. It's like, you have your process in place, but you haven't really used it.
Mhm.
So don't spend your time trying to figure out what to do. Spend your time going, all right, what'd they build? Where's it at? How do I access it? Right? That's why I said, shoot me a message if you need reminders of where stuff's at, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because, like, we want you to take what's there and leverage it because it's built for scale.
Mhm.
Like, I have this mindset. We don't build anything that won't scale. And constantly on strategy calls, people are going, what about this? I'm like, let me ask you a question. I'll ask a couple questions and I'll see their face twitch or squirm. Like, I'm like, that's why. They're like, what? I'm like, your face winced. You hate that idea, don't you? And they're like, yes. I'm like, exactly. That's why it's not built that way. You need to get rid of that idea, because even if we build that for you, you're going to sabotage it and tear it apart. It's like, so let's not do that. Let's do this because you light up when I talk about this. So if we build it like that, you can actually scale it. Like we're constantly telling people no, which people think is taboo with your own customers. But people come in like, can you build this? Can you build this? Yeah, we can. I would suggest you don't. Like, I'm not worried about losing customer because I care about the person. I'm like, that's a bad idea. If you want us to build it, I mean, you're paying for it. We can build whatever you want. But here's why you should shy away from that big, complicated process. Like, build it to where you can use it. Because if you'll use it every day, that's what'll scale and work for you.
Mhm.
So, anyway, like I said, I could hash this out all day. I enjoy this topic. I feel like it's one of those things that everybody needs and nobody realizes or likes. So I could hash it all day, but it's 1 o'clock. I want to respect you guys' time as well and get you back to making money tasks. So have an awesome weekend. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for hour and a half.
Oh, thank you, Aaron.
No,
Thank you so much.
no doubt. Thank you.
Mhm.
You're very
Yeah.
welcome. Have an awesome weekend. We'll catch you guys next Friday.
All right.
All right.
That's good.
Thanks.
You too.
See
Thanks,
ya.
Aaron.
All right.
Nice to meet you, Ralph.
Hey, good to meet you, Chris.